Welcome to my channel, Philosophy of Stoicism. She thought she had all the power until you disappeared. At first she didn't notice. She thought you'd be right where she left you, waiting, hoping, chasing. But as the days passed and your silence grew louder, something shifted inside her. Suddenly she started wondering why you weren't reaching out, why you weren't reacting, and why she couldn't stop thinking about you. That's when it hit her. She's the one who lost something. Not you. Stay tuned, because in this video, I'll break down exactly what happens when a woman realizes you're truly gone, and why it changes everything. 1. The comfort of your presence. Women often don't realize the value of what they have until it's gone. It's human nature. When something is always there, we assume it always will be. And that's exactly how she saw you. When you were present in her life, you gave her attention, provided emotional support, and were always available whenever she needed you. She enjoyed your presence, but the problem was, she got used to it. She assumed it was a constant. This is where things shift. She didn't necessarily stop liking you, but she stopped feeling the urgency to appreciate you in her mind. She believed that no matter what happened, you'd always be there. And once a woman reaches that level of comfort, she starts testing you. She might pull back slightly, not because she's lost interest, but because she subconsciously wants to see if you'll chase when you do. That's when the power dynamic shifts. She knows you're hooked, and suddenly your value in her mind starts to drop. But the second you pull away, everything changes. The silence you create forces her to confront a reality. She never expected that you were not a permanent fixture in her life, but a choice. And now that choice is no longer hers to make. For the first time, she has to deal with the possibility of losing you for good. 2. The emotional void hits harder than expected. When you walk away, she might not react right away. Some women even pretend not to care at first, but make no mistake, she feels the shift. At first, she fills the silence with distractions, scrolling through social media, going out with friends, diving into work. She might even fake happiness online, posting pictures and making it seem like she's unbothered. But here's where it gets interesting. Nothing truly replaces the feeling of knowing you were once there, and now you're not. Men and women process loss differently. Men tend to process it logically, analyzing what happened, what went wrong, and what they could have done differently. Women, on the other hand, process it emotionally. First, they feel the void before they understand it. At first, she doesn't even realize she's missing you, but it creeps in slowly. A song comes on that reminds her of you. She walks past a place where you spent time together. She scrolls through her phone and sees old messages suddenly. The thought enters her mind. Did I make a mistake? The feeling of security she once had with you is gone, and now it's replaced by doubt, regret, and curiosity. She starts questioning her own decisions, and that's a dangerous place for her to be, because now she starts to realize that she had something good with you, and she let it slip away. 3. When she realizes you've moved on. Here's the moment that changes everything. When she realizes you're not waiting for her, she expected you to reach out. She assumed you'd chase. She thought you'd try to win her back, but instead you did the opposite. You stayed silent. You stopped engaging. You didn't look for closure. You simply kept moving forward. At first, she tells herself that you're just trying to play a game, that you're testing her, and that eventually you'll come back. But then time keeps passing, and she notices something. You're not checking up on her. You're not liking her posts. You're not reacting to her stories. You're simply gone. That's when the realization sets in. She starts thinking, did I misjudge him? Was he actually a better man than I thought? Is he moving on with someone else? Those thoughts create an emotional spiral that forces her to see your value only after she's lost you. It's in this moment that regret turns into obsession. 4. The fear of being replaced. Nothing shakes a woman more than the idea that you've moved on and found someone better. Why? Because now she's not just losing you. She's losing her sense of importance. At first, she was fine with the distance. Maybe she even convinced herself that you were still thinking about her, but then she sees something. Maybe she hears from mutual friends that you're doing well without her. Maybe she catches a glimpse of you laughing in a photo with another woman. Or maybe she just realizes that you've stopped caring entirely, and suddenly the tables turn. She starts checking your social media. She starts replaying old conversations in her head. She starts thinking about all the times you were there for her. The fear of being replaced. The fear of being replaced isn't just about jealousy, it's also about ego. She wants to know that she still has power over you. So what does she do? She starts trying to get your attention, random likes on your posts, a message out of nowhere, a weak attempt to catch up, and that's where you have the ultimate choice to re-engage or to keep moving forward. 5. The power of indifference. This is the most powerful position you can be in by the time she realizes your worth. You've already realized something bigger. You never needed her to validate your value. You never needed her attention to feel complete, and you definitely don't need to go back. When you reach this point, your mindset shifts. You're no longer worried about whether she's thinking about you. You're too busy living your life. Ironically, that's when she wants you the most, deep down. She knows she had something good with you, and she let it slip away. Now she has to live with that choice. 6. The silent shock when reality hits her. At first, she convinces herself that your silence is temporary. She tells herself you're probably just busy and that you'll be back, but then days turn into weeks and your absence becomes undeniable. This is the silent shock, the moment she realizes that you're not just stepping back, you're truly gone. She starts replaying the last conversations you had. She starts wondering if she made the right decision. Did she push you away without realizing it? Did she take you for granted? At first, she tries to distract herself. She surrounds herself with friends, engages in meaningless conversations, and maybe even tries dating someone new. But something feels off, no matter what. There's a void that wasn't there before, and that's when she realizes it wasn't just you that left. It was the version of herself that she was when she was with you. Now she's left sitting with a feeling. She can't shake regret. Her usual coping mechanisms don't seem to work. Other men don't give her the same feeling of security and connection that you did. The conversations feel forced, and no one seems to understand her the way you did. She tells herself that she made the right choice. But deep down, a small voice whispers, "What if I was wrong?" That doubt begins to creep in, growing stronger every day, every moment. She expects a text from you, but it never comes. It adds to the weight of her realization, and that's when she truly feels the sting. You were a constant presence in her life, and now there's just emptiness. 7. She starts watching you from a distance, the moment she realizes that you're not reaching out. Curiosity takes over. She won't always be obvious about it, but make no mistake, she's watching. At first, she resists the urge. She tells herself she doesn't need to check your social media, but as the silence stretches on, that need becomes overwhelming. She scrolls through her feed trying to convince herself she's just casually checking, but deep down she's searching for signs that you still care. Are you posting anything that hints at missing her? Are you still single, or have you moved on? Are you becoming someone better? Someone she can no longer reach? And the more she doesn't find what she's looking for, the more desperate she becomes. She starts analyzing everything, your posts, your pictures, even the people you interact with. If she notices another woman in your life, that's when the panic sets in. Her mind starts racing with thoughts she never expected to have. Did he upgrade? Does he even think about me anymore? What if he found someone better? Because she's watching from the shadows. She can't do anything about it. She doesn't want to seem desperate. So instead she waits, hoping you'll notice her presence. But when you continue to stay silent, That's when things take a darker turn. 8. Jealousy takes over, even if she ended things with you. Even if she was the one who pulled away, she never expected to feel jealous. She thought she could move on effortlessly, but now she's realizing something she never admitted to herself. She expected you to stay available. She never thought she would see you as someone she could actually lose, and that thought burns. She starts stalking your profile more frequently, her mind going through endless loops of what-ifs every time she sees something new about your life. Her emotions shift from curiosity to full-blown frustration, and the worst part, she can't show it. She can't just text you and demand to know what's going on in your life. She can't ask you if you've moved on, because that would make her seem weak. So instead, she plays games. She posts stories or updates designed to make you jealous. She suddenly starts liking old pictures of yours, hoping you'll take the bait. She might even send a completely random message just to see if she can still get a reaction from you. But the moment she 9, the late-night realization at this stage, she might not even want to admit it to herself. But she feels it late at night, when she's alone, and when the distractions fade away. That's when the thoughts hit the hardest. She might try to fight it. She might try to convince herself that she's happy, that she's fine, that she doesn't care, but deep down, she knows the truth. The late-night realization is where she finally faces her emotions head-on. She lays in bed, staring at the ceiling, thinking about all the moments she had with you, the way you used to laugh together, the way you always understood her without her needing to say a word. And the most painful thought of all, she can't just reach out like before. Her pride is holding her back. She knows she's the one who let you go, and she knows that if she reaches out, she risks rejection, but the silence is unbearable. So what does she do? She starts dropping hints. A late night. I miss you. Text a random reaction to an old story, a weak excuse to start a conversation, because at this point she just wants to know if you still care, and when she doesn't get the response she expected, that's when she truly feels the loss. 10. When she wants you back, but it's too late by the time she fully realizes what she lost. You've already moved on. This is where the ultimate shift happens. She might reach out. She might test the waters by sending a message or finding an excuse to reconnect. But the truth is, she's not reaching out because she truly wants to fix things. She's reaching out because she wants to know if she still has control, and when she realizes that she doesn't, that's when the regret hits the hardest, because by the time she realizes your worth, you've already found something better. This is where you have the ultimate power. You no longer seek her validation. You no longer feel the need to chase. You've built a life that doesn't revolve around her, and that's what drives her crazy. At the end of the day, the only thing more powerful than making a woman miss you is realizing you don't need her to. 11. She tries to fill the void, but nothing works when a woman realizes she's lost someone valuable. Her first instinct isn't always to face the pain. It's to fill the void. She doesn't want to sit in the discomfort of missing you, so she looks for distractions. She might start spending more time with friends, going out more often, or jumping into casual dating, thinking it'll help her move on. She might throw herself into work, hobbies, or social media, hoping the noise will drown out the silence you left behind. But the problem is, none of it works. Because the void she's feeling isn't about just losing a person. It's about losing the sense of comfort, connection, and security she had with you. No one else seems to make her laugh the way you did. Conversations with new people feel forced, lacking the depth she had with you. Every attempt to move forward only reminds her of what she lost, and that's when frustration sets in. She doesn't understand why she can't just let go and feel fine. Like she expected, she thought she could replace you. Move on quickly, but here she is, still thinking about you, and that realization eats away at her. 12. Regret turns into obsession. At this stage, her emotions shift from simple regret to something deeper. Obsession, she's no longer just missing you in passing thoughts. She's actively thinking about you every single day. She starts replaying old memories in her mind, overanalyzing past moments. She starts romanticizing what you had, forgetting why things ended. The worst part, she doesn't have control over this feeling. It creeps up when she least expects it. She could be out with friends laughing, enjoying her night. And then suddenly a song plays that reminds her of you. She could be scrolling through her phone and an old picture of you two pops up. She might even be on a date, and the person across from her says something, and in that moment she wishes it was you sitting there instead. The more she tries to suppress these thoughts, the stronger they become. You are in her head now, and she doesn't know how to stop thinking about you. And when a woman starts obsessing over a man she thought she was over, she starts acting in ways even she doesn't understand. 13. She creates a reason to reconnect at this point. She's craving a connection with you, but she's also struggling with her pride. She doesn't want to seem desperate. So what does she do? She creates a reason to reconnect. Maybe she suddenly remembers something she needs from you. Maybe she randomly texts you about a topic that doesn't even make sense. Maybe she likes an old,